So a few years ago when we moved in, my little shop that I've got out here, it's a good bit of ways from our house. So instead of running power all the way out there, which I figured was going to be up into the $600 to $800 range just to run a line out there, not to mention the work that would have to be done to get it installed, I decided I would go with a solar powered shop to do my lights. So I'll show you all that here in just a few minutes, but this morning I'm going to start working on putting in another set of lights that will tie into that system that will be in my open barn area where my tractor sits, so that I can go out there and work on it in the winter time and stuff when I need a little bit of light. So let me show y'all how we're doing this. We've got these waterproof LED light strips. There's 3 of them to a pack. Now there is a actual converter in here. I've already taken one of these out, but there's an actual converter and switch and all that, but we're not going to be using that. In fact, I may have to, I've already got one of these strung out here, just checking my length. But I may have to cut these off and just solder into the wires. But basically I'm going to use some construction adhesive because the tape on the back of these just will not stand up to the cold weather. But I'm going to use construction adhesive and glue these to these 1x3s. And considering the 1x3s are 8 foot long, I end up with a gap in the middle, so I'm going to take another one, cut it down, and make a backer as well for it, and screw that into it, and glue it together. And that way I'll have enough to be able to reach all the way to the end down here and have my LEDs glued all the way to the end. So my gap here is, I'm showing about 7 inches. According to the math, these strips are 16.4 feet long, which would end up being about 5 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just add that 7 inches in there, and then I'm going to put a backer piece that will go 12 inches. So I'll have a few inches. I have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches, 2.5 inches of overlap on each side. And then I'll screw that together from the back. Now I'm going to go the 12 inches now that I've done the 7s. So I'll go the 12 inches, I'll cut 3 of those.
Mark, 2.5 inches on the mark, 12 forward, that way I know where to put a 7 forward. I'm going to glue those and go ahead and screw through them, just hold them in place, and then I will attach them to the other ones. So.
I'm going to take a little bit of carpenter's glue, just put a little thin bit of it on here, set that in place, and I'll put a screw in it here in just a moment. Same thing on this one. Now these aren't the best boards in the world, but you know, I really don't care because I'm not that worried about it. All they're there for is to provide a backing strip to hold those lights, those LED light strips. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just needs to be functional. So let me get some screws in these. Now, I particularly like the square bit type screws. And it's just because I don't have that much of a problem when it comes to driving them in to the correct amount or getting them back out. That's just my opinion, but other people may not like them, but I do. And these are, let me see here. Yeah, they're just some 1-inch screws. This is 3/4 inch material. So I'm not worried about putting a whole lot. I'm just gonna put one in there. Make sure I sink it in good because these are panhead screws. And them only being 1 inch long, and it's being 3/4 inch material, I need a little bit more, but this is what I got. And it's not that the drill's bogging down, it's just that I don't want to zip them in there real fast and go too far. We'll go back and make sure that each one of them is straight. We're good there. So now I'm going to start attaching those again with a little bit of glue. I'm going to start attaching those. I'm looking for the best side to be down because that'll allow that adhesive to glue to better. So a little bit of glue, and there we go, and then a screw. So I'm using some Loctite all-purpose power grab, and I've already got one glued down. We're fixing to start on the second one here, and I'll kind of show y'all how that goes as I do that. So first, I'm gonna get the backing kind of started off here, and I use that just kind of as a placeholder. I'm not really expecting it to hold the strips. I am offsetting it some, and that way I have plenty of room to put my screws into the joist when I get it back there to my shop. As you can see, I'm just putting a thin, very thin layer of the construction adhesive down. Go ahead and peeling this back some, and go ahead and setting it in to the construction adhesive. Just kind of patting it in as I go down through here. And like I said, not using a lot, just enough to make it stick. And the reasoning is I've had this actually come off before by just using the tape that's on the back of this. So I like to go a little bit further and put the construction adhesive in as well. And like I said, I'm not putting a whole lot, just a light thin line of it, pulling the tape off and working this in. And that's just to ensure that it sticks and doesn't come off. Now, it is a little cooler than the Loctite suggests using it. Loctite says it needs to be 50 degrees. It's in the upper 40s today. Possibly get up into the 50s after a while. So I'm going ahead and doing this, and then I'm going to let it sit out here in the sun for just a little while to kind of help cure it a little. Now these are waterproof LEDs. So them being outside in my little shop area is not going to be an issue. After this construction adhesive dries, it'll be waterproof as well. There, I've gotten to the end on this one, and I'm just laying this in. Alright, so there's that one done. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'll do the third one. Won't make y'all watch the whole thing. So this is basically where this is going. I'm just going to kind of eyeball measurement here and decide where I need to cut my conduit. So now I've got my conduit cut. I'm going to, I got a couple of conduit holders here. I'm going to take the bolt out of those and run me a screw through them and into this post. I think I'm only going to put the one because it's going to be a little snug at the top anyways when I pull it down. I'm gonna switch my bit out and tighten these down right quick. All right, now we're gonna drop my wire down through. Now, I had went ahead and run this wire and went ahead and put it into my shop in there to where I didn't have to fool with it. Just trying to get ahead. But only thing I'm gonna have here is just my hot wire coming in and hot wire going back out to my actual LED strips, which will be up here. So the only other thing will be the ground wire, and that's going to go directly back to the charge controller. So let me take it, get my wire, and I'll run another one down in here, and then I can start working, pulling it back around and to my other location. So now I've got my wire pulled out here, and I can put my switch and my cover plate on and go ahead and close that part up, because the only thing that's going here is a light switch, and I just need it on the hot side to be able to turn the lights on and off. Otherwise, it's just running a wire to the LED lights and the negative wire back to the control from each end of the LED lights. So let me get that started. The light switch is going to wire up just like a regular light switch would. Nothing special about it. The one thing I got to remember is which one is my hot wire and which one is my wire to the rest of the lights. So I've got 14 gauge wire here, so got to take and use my wire strippers here. It is stranded wire, makes it a little easier to pull. So, and then we're just going to wrap that around the screw. Let me get a screwdriver so that I can tighten it down. And there's nothing really that special about any of this. It's regular electrical components. So there's that one. And then this will be my wire that will be coming out to my lights. now that that's done, I can set my light switch. I got a little bit too much cord here on my power end, but that's okay. I'm just going to curl that back up and into the box. Alright, so we want it to be in the off position and down. So I've checked that. In goes the lights. And screwdriver here. Won't take me a second to get this tightened down and get my cover plate back on there, or get my cover plate on, and I'll be done with this part. And since I don't have a actual screwdriver out here, I'm going to use a bit here just to tighten this thing down. This doesn't have to be anything but hand tight, so. There you go. So now we'll move on to getting the LED strips put in as soon as they dry out a little bit more. So, catch y'all back in a little bit. And there you have it. They're up in place. All I gotta do is do the wiring. That was pretty much how I had to put them up one by one.
Alright, let's try this again. Let's try this again.
Done lost all my daylight, so I think I've got it all wired up. I'm gonna go in here and try to put the wires into the charge controller and see if we get. Give y'all kind of a look at my charge controller and stuff. From my solar panel, it comes into my charge controller there. And I've got a battery bank sitting down here. And those were batteries that were gifted to me by a friend. So I'm gonna make a tie-in to where the outlet is there and see what we get. Ouch. Ooh.
Do you still want tacos?
Sure. All right, if I've done everything right, we should have lights outside. Let's go find out. And ta-da! We have lights. How about that? So there you have it. As you can see, I've got them running here behind me. Put off a pretty good bit of light for just being little LED strips. So it's enough for me to be able to work by. It's not the super brightest. I still have to have a flashlight back here to kind of help me find anything that I might drop, but they're gonna do their job. Now, I will say I did end up with a few complications, particularly with the boards. I didn't allow the glue to dry long enough, and if I had to do it again, I would have made my crossing piece, the backing piece, probably 24 inches instead of 12 inches. There just wasn't enough meat there to hold. In fact, all three of them actually ended up coming apart. But I was able to put some screws in, some longer screws into it, and pull two of them back together. One of them, the one in the very back there, you can kind of see right in there. You'll see a wire. That's because it actually, when it broke or fell apart, it actually broke the LED strip, and I had to solder those together and fix that. So, but y'all stay tuned, and I will try to take and go through my actual full solar system from my shop here in a different video. But until then, make sure that you smash that like button and hit that subscribe button. And until next time, y'all be safe. Thanks for watching the Alabama Bee Girlz and Dad.